So, Nina, I know you've got a group on Facebook called Our Journeys, and that's kind of a way for you to look at how other people kind of move in their journey in their life. But I'd love you to explain it in better depth, and you can see actually in the journey in the actual page as well. It's making positive impacts on people. So,
Mm.
off to you, Nina.
Well, I guess I should start right from the beginning of realizing that I was hiding who I was. And I realized that I shouldn't do that anymore. So I found my voice. And then I was in another meeting, a discussion with other people, and it was after a meditation session. And it was like all of a sudden it was like I started channeling and I started getting all these visions, and I was like, wow, I really feel that I need to start a group, a Facebook group, start a chat group, have meetings, and just help people. Because when I was quiet and silent about who I am, I felt alone. I felt lonely. I didn't have anyone else to talk to bounce ideas off, or to learn from, or share things with. And I was like, and also COVID was here as well. So, people were even more lonely because it was lockdown. People were isolated in the homes. So it was a perfect time. And straight after the call, I thought, right, okay, no time like the present. Let's take action. And I started building the Facebook group page. And what was really interesting was I'd actually tried previously to make a Facebook group page, and I hadn't got a clue. I couldn't do it. I couldn't work it. But the interesting thing was, because it was in line with, obviously, with who I am and my vision, it just flowed so naturally, so easily. And it just happened. In fact, I was shocked. I was like, who is this person who's done this? Because it was not something I'd ever been able to do before. Um, so yeah, I mean, it started off quite small. Just started sharing the group with other people. People started coming. But, the other purpose of the group as well was to, people used to say to me, wow, Nina, how do you know that? Where have you found that? Where's this? Where's that? So I started sharing um, YouTube videos, things that I resonated with, different people's offerings they were doing, courses that I thought people might find interesting. And it's interesting, I can see my own growth in the different things that I've shared in it. Um, the pages actually was set up privately so that people can openly share and not feel that, it's just for everybody. It is just for those people that are in the group, to give them a safe space. Um, but I'd say that the messenger group side of it has been incredible. I've had so much feedback from people, how they've felt supported, understood. It's just been fabulous. And it's not just been for them, it's been for me too. You know, it's it's been absolutely incredible. Um, but a lot of the reason why I did it was I wanted people to really connect with themselves, their own passion, their own vision, their own purpose, and to find who they were and become who they are meant to be and become authentic. So that has really been what it was about. Um, and it has been so beautiful to see people who have changed massively. Because we have weekly meetings on a Friday, and when we get into discussion, you get those people that would ask millions of questions, talking too fast, jumping over other people, not giving space, and then seeing them really, really grow and really change and become more calmer, more present, more connected with themselves, rather than looking for a guru, looking for a teacher, but actually realizing the teacher's within, you know, and it's just to help people see that, really.
Yeah, and like kind of what I'm gathering is you're trying to find, you kind of give people the tools to find who they are.
Mm,
And so like
yeah.
when we're like talking about who, how you find who you are, how that, I mean, obviously you said during COVID you found who you are, but like were there certain tools that you use to find yourself or find your voice, find that kind of motivation?
Yeah, I think for me, the first real thing for me was finding love from within. And that is really what changed everything for me. And it was strange because I had broken relationships. I didn't love myself. I really didn't. And it was during a meditation of connecting with our heart and asking, think of a person, think of a friend, or then think of a pet, because they went through the list and I was like, nobody loves me. But then when I thought about my animal, my pet, I was like, oh yeah, because you could see that unconditional love from your pet, It's like just wagging the tail and like, because it's like they're smiling at you and they love you no matter what. You could say like 5 minutes before, no, but they still come up to you and love you. And that really changed everything for me. Because before that I was meditating, I was doing breath work, I was doing all the different things. But I'd say the real shift was learning to love myself and finding that love's from within, not from without.
Hmm.
And I'd say that is really what changed massively for me. Yeah.
And
And
that
then
kind.
obviously keeping that keeping that practice of meditation, and but then I'd say that moved more into really getting a feel of what presence is. So being mindful about everything that I did, like to the connection of my feet with on the ground, to really noticing the wind moving and rustling the leaves and the grass, how it's flowing on the ground. Just really becoming present changed everything for me.
Yeah, so by finding your inner love, you wouldn't think about
Mhm.
other people bringing hatred. I mean, that's what I'm gathering, kind of like other people bringing hatred towards you. So you're not thinking about the past or the future. So
Mm,
therefore, you can then be in the present moment. And like that's really
yeah.
interesting. And I love the fact that you're talking about like your pet. I think my pet does love me a little bit more when I'm giving him food or taking him for a walk. My dog Goku. He's a golden retriever, and he loves. Yeah, he loves food like that. And I mean that is really interesting actually, and it's something that I've picked up on that when talking is like, you really do find, especially when you've gone through tough times like yourself, and like you're saying, you didn't feel loved in like relationships, and in all sorts of places, even probably in work and things like that. And because of that, do you reckon when you then discovered self love, that made that more powerful?
Actually, that's really interesting you said that, because um, I'd had a period of quite a few years of a very, very dark time. I felt really lost. Yeah, I was really, really down. And then COVID hit, which caused a separation in my family. Couldn't see each other. Um, so then I sank even lower. But then I had an aha moment. It was like, I'm not having this anymore. This is not happening. I'm going to change this. And I think that really was it. I'd hit the lowest I could get. And I was just like, no, it's not happening anymore. And then I just started rising from that point. So I think the first one was I found MAP, which is Make Anything Possible. I'd seen an advertisement and I resonated with what they were saying. And I thought, why not? It really appealed to me that it was an online community and, the different, and for me, the most important part of it was they did trauma work, but trauma work that not like going to a counselling or seeing a psychiatrist or anything like that, where you have to keep going over and re-dredging up all the old trauma, the things that hurt. It's so much gentler than that. And yeah, and that changed everything for me. It really did. But I think for me, it was that initial point of saying, I'm not having this anymore. I'm going to do something about it. And I did.
And you're a map practitioner, right? If I remember correctly, from the past.
I'm not actually. I was just basically one of the clients who went. It's actually Marie who has
Mm,
co-hosted with me on our journeys. She is now a qualified map practitioner. Um, but a lot of the people in my group have been, have been part of MAP. So I mean, it's good that I was in that for over a year. So I really understand the processes and where they're coming from. But for me, uh, the MAP tribe are too uh, happy clappy. Everybody's got to be on a high vibration,
mm.
and I don't believe that. I think that it's more about, you know, steady wave, because the higher you go, the further you fall, because it's true,
I
So if
yeah.
you're like constantly saying you've got to be happy all the time, that's not reality.
Yeah, I also, I mean, like what I find with that, when people are overly positive, they're masking. And if they're masking, there's going to be something
Exactly.
that's just building up. So it's like a volcano that builds up and it's just, and you're essentially,
Yeah.
you're waiting for an explosion to happen. And it's actually good to feel like, I don't know. And obviously, I'm sure that there are people better qualified than I am. But I find that negative emotions, it's there for a reason. Like if you're angry,
Absolutely.
you should not mask it. That there should be, or at least you should
Mm.
address why you're angry. If you're feeling upset, why you're feeling upset. And um, I think we are talking about this earlier today as well. Like, especially in the nine to
Yeah.
five office work, you're taught to really suppress your emotions around people so that it's a working environment where you shut your emotions off and you get on with it. And that can, over time, be quite dangerous. Like, you do get people with, health issues and they're just sitting down. Like, they're not going out in the wild and, like, kind of kicking or shooting a deer or running after things or even like doing manual work. They're sitting in an office and they're getting more and more damage just because they're holding these emotions because Joe Blogs hasn't done the sitting there watching YouTube as you're trying to work, or someone's like screaming at asking you when something's going to happen immediately, and you know or whatever it is. And yeah, I find that it's good to be positive and find ways to look at positive things. Like I can be quite an optimist, but I also think that with negative emotions, they're there for a reason, and they should be. They're great for exercise. So, but
Yeah. It's quite interesting you mentioning about emotions as well. Yeah. Yeah, because I think that was something else that I realized, that I was suppressing my emotions. So yeah.
did you with? I mean, because you also do some art. There's that I can't remember what the art was. If you did you find that you could move your emotions into the art, and obviously you're dancing as well. And I'm gonna butcher your thing. Anyway, we'll talk about the art thing, and then we'll talk about your. I've forgotten the name again. I'm so sorry, Nina. Make
Yeah.
emotion happen. No,
Well,
grace
from a
with emotion.
grace in motion, grace in motion.
I'm sorry. I will be
Yeah,
better.
I think it's all right, Deb. Um, my art. Again, that's an interesting as well because um, I never felt good enough because my mum is actually she's worldwide known. She's famous. She's made a doll. She made the fairy on the Queen's Christmas tree. She's like known all over the world, and I felt very much in competition with her, and never felt that my work was worthy or good enough. So I've ended up growing up feeling unworthy, you know, very limited in my own beliefs about my own work. Um, it's quite interesting because I went through a whole phase of not creating at all because it was like I couldn't even put a pencil on a paper and I'd end up going, it's rubbish, and just getting rid of it. Even though I've been to university, I've done loads of art courses, I set up my own business when I was 13, teaching art.
Wow.
So I've got every reason to say I can do it, but I still had that nagging subconscious belief of I'm not good enough.
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
so
sorry,
that was interesting.
what did good enough mean? I didn't mean to, but it's like a kind of well, by good enough, like what does that exactly mean? Like, and actually, it's something that I've heard a lot of artists, like one of my friends, an artist, so a lot of artists say that, oh, it's not good
Mm,
enough and things like that.
mm. I think for me, um, I think because my mum used to I'd travel the world with her. I'd go to different shows and things, and people coming up going, "Oh, don't you think your mum's so fabulous?" And I was like, "No," because I saw it that it had stolen my mum because she was a workaholic, because she was just engrossed in her art. That's how I saw it growing up. And if I did any artwork, I'd show my mum. Yeah, yeah, that's great. My mum would show appreciation. I'd show it my dad, and he'd be like, it's all right. Not as good as your mum could do it at the same age. And that used to be like stab in the heart.
Oh, yeah.
And it just got to the point where I lost all my confidence. But that was, you could say, well, that's blame, that's saying, but I see it now totally the opposite. My dad, although he worded it in that way, he didn't mean it how I took it. He was trying to encourage me to do better. He was trying to encourage me to, well, come on, do more, and then you will get even better. I saw it as, oh, I'm not good enough. That word of it's no good, it's not good enough. So that's where it stemmed from. Um, and then you kind of the perfectionism side as well. I've most of my life I've been a perfectionist, so I had to learn to drop that and
Hmm.
realize, you know, you don't have to reach a perfect thing because nothing ever is, you know. Um, but then I learned how to enjoy the process instead. So I found that I used to like I'd look at a piece of paper and I'd be like, right, okay, today I'm going to do a portrait of Dev. So like I'd start it and I'd be, oh, that's not in the right place, rub it out. But I was too paying too much attention to the fine detail instead of enjoying the process. So I'm starting to learn now to really enjoy creating no matter what it is. And I'm starting to free up more, um, instead of going to the tiny details, trying to get bigger and make more marks rather than, okay, this has got to look exactly how Dev's eye looks, like a camera would do it. Instead, it's about, well, this is how what's coming out from inside me, not necessarily a realism, more of an interpretation.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few points and some things that I think I can like, or whoever wants to listen can take out of that, which is never let perfection get in the way of the good. And this is something that, especially in tech as well, and I'm a tester, so I have to be really about perfection and making sure things are, like
Mm,
that. But you should never let perfection get in the way of good. So if something's good enough, it's fine. It can be released,
mm,
because you can make things absolutely perfect, but you lose the essence of it, or you lose the timing of when you can release
mm.
it. You don't then produce another thing. You don't get the feedback as you need to. So yeah, I really like that, and and what your parents say, and this is actually something that I really like, I think I can take personally, is that you've got to be a little bit careful about what you say to your children. Like you say, you're not good enough. That's going to internalize.
Yep.
I think Gabor Mate also spoke about this as well, as to like why people have
Yeah.
ADHD. And it's because you really internalize it as a kid. You internalize these conversations as a kid. So you have to be really careful about how you encourage children. Um, so yeah, no, and another thing I'd love to talk about is grace in motion. There you go. I got it right this time. And what that's about, really. And so from what I gather, is it's about ecstatic dancing. And can you explain what ecstatic dancing is?
Um, would you like me to tell you about the ecstatic dance or reverse right back to the beginning of? Right, well, first of all, I hadn't even heard of ecstatic dance. I didn't even know what it was. And again, I'd been in a meditation and I had a vision. And first of all, what they said was, what is it you're passionate about? Connect with passion. And I was like, oh, well, for me, this is like inside. And I'm like, I love dancing. I love music. That's my passion. And I was like, okay, hang on a minute. I gave up on my dream of dancing when I was 13 because I'd had an operation on my legs. And just before the operation, I'd got a leading role in a show. I got the leading role on a ballet, and it was my dream. I'd worked really hard to get there. And then I got my operation date, and the operation was meant to be timed just before the show. So I had to decline the leading role and let it go. And then after I had the surgery, I got gangrene in my leg, which meant that I lost half of my tendon in my leg from my knee to my ankle. So I can't move my ankle properly. So I can't point my toe anymore. So I certainly couldn't be a ballet dancer. And I realised that's when I started to become unwell. I then got
Hmm.
diagnosed with fibromyalgia at the age of 16. And to me, that was because I'd lost my passion. I could no longer do what was passion for me.
What is fibromyalgia? If it's, so, just so that everyone knows what it is as well. And
Well, fibromyalgia, it can be caused by, um, like, say, a car accident. Basically, it's trauma, a trauma response. So it could be you've been in an accident, or it could be like the doctors were saying that they felt it was because I'd had so many general anesthetics, so many surgeries, one after the other, that it had taken its toll on me. Um, and to me, really, what fibromyalgia is suppressed emotion. It's internalizing trauma, it's internalizing pain, it's being quiet, not speaking your truth, masking constantly, and just fitting in to the society where they want you to be.
Hmm.
So when I realized and I was like, oh, my passion's dancing, my passion's music. I'd always been interested in DJing. I'd always loved, I used to go like raves and nightclubbing and stuff, and loved it. But I hadn't obviously done any of that for like years. So then I got this and I was like, okay, what am I going to do with that? I was like, I'm going to start dancing again. And I realized I could start healing my body through dance. And that's how I found ecstatic dance. And that is what ecstatic dance is. Ecstatic dance is, it's not about getting your moves on, being the next person to do a show of greatness. It's about just moving in free flow to however your body is telling you it wants to move to that rhythm of the music. So like ecstatic dance can go like in a wave, in a flow. So you can have like really gentle, slow moving. You can have really grounding music, things that make you feel full of love. So you can, people have been known to like cry, start laughing, or just have an amazing experience through it. Um, so I'd never heard of it. So the first person that I got introduced to was Five Rhythms, which is Gabrielle Roth, and I love her model of what she does, and hers is really a wave because it's like moving through your whole chakras, your whole part of your body for different emotions. So like you've got um, chaos, which is like shaking. So like the music will be very like sort of drums with no beat, of
Mm.
any rhythm. It'll be like sporadic. So you're like really like shaking and moving. And then you've got like the lyrical, which is like more like flowy, and it's great. But that was my first. I had no idea there was such a thing as music that was more conscious, and I just had no idea. So it's been a complete journey, and now I've got like over 500 hours worth of music just since that time that I've collected together to use. But I went on a course. I did it online. Um, it was based in India, and that was called Emotions in Motion. And that isn't. It wasn't just about dance. It was about, so your dance is also working on relationships, sort of your inside, your boundaries to the external, to how you relate with somebody else. So it could be like an object or the space in the floor. Um, Identifying in nature, so being a tree or a butterfly or a lion, or but we also did, not only did we do dance, we do drama, poetry, meditation, painting. So we did all different kinds of art. Um, and that was just really amazing. So that's one of the things that I will be teaching. But my main passion is the ecstatic dance, really, and just letting people let loose and yeah, just being their own little bubble. It's not about eye contact. It's there's no talking. It's good to be with bare feet. Sometimes you can decide to connect with another person to dance, but it's mainly a solo experience.
Mm.
So yeah,
And
that's what I'm really. So I'm learning to DJ now.
that's brilliant. No, it's good. And do you know what? It's important to, learn new things, and especially because it's going to inform the ecstatic dance. And actually, sorry, I just want to go a bit more into the
Mm.
ecstatic dance as well, because you can really see the passion coming through it. So, let's start with this question. Where in India, obviously I'm going to say that because I'm an Indian man myself. So, like, where in India did you do the dancing and the drama and the emotion in motion? Motion. Yeah, sorry, yeah, emotion in motion. Do you remember?
Good question, Dev. Oh, it's just gone. It's really just gone. I did know, but no, I can't remember. Obviously, I knew,
That's okay.
but no,
I
I
mean,
can't remember.
if you went to Punjab, it would have
Yeah,
just been Bhangra.
it
Uh,
was
oh, sorry.
it was online, obviously, because it was during COVID, so
Oh,
nobody could travel. And in fact, the girl, who she has a full dance studio. They teach contemporary dance, all kinds of dance. Um, but when I did the training with her, she she did it literally. She had a room with a mattress on the floor and a candle lighting the room
wow.
and a laptop because they couldn't go out. and they were doing works and her electricity went down. So it was candles, and but it was beautiful. It was such a lovely experience, and connected with so many people from all over the world as well. Yeah,
Mm.
it was amazing.
And so when you do start ecstatic dance, is there usually like a flow to it? Like, would it start off with, let's say, chaos, and then kind of go into like a very smooth way? Like how is there like a prescribed way to start an ecstatic dance? I know that because it's just because I don't know very much about it. So,
Um, no, I think from my own research, and because I've followed many different facilitators and DJs, and I've been to their ecstatic dance. You've got all different kinds, you've got all different types, and I think that's why I really love doing the course with who I'm doing it with, because it's a DJ and facilitator course, but to do it from you, how you want to do it. Whereas all the other courses are, this is how we do it, this is how we start it, this is what kind of music we use. Whereas I love all genres of music. I put all kinds of stuff in my mixes. You know, I've got like world music, I've got industrial, I've got drum and bass, I've got old house tunes, I've got so you could have classical, you know, anything mixed into it. It can be so different. And kind of what I'm learning from my course is sometimes, well, a lot of the times, you can start off, say, with 3 tracks, you know, and you'll go, right, this is definitely how I want to start it. And then you could have, like, say, a catalogue for a load of songs that you think, I might potentially play those. But you've got to assess the room, see where people are at. You know, you could play something really fast and you lose people's attention, or you could play something really slow and lose their attention. It depends where they're at as well and what they need on that day. And you can usually judge it from how they respond to the music.
mm.
So I'd say my style, um, I like to have something at the beginning. Like I like a lot of things like with Ram Dass speaking in the background, something that's gonna set you up for the dance as an intention. So listening to the words of somebody else, there's quite a lot now in music where the words are over it.
Mm.
So rather than it be a song with lyrics, I like to use those where it's actually, you know, somebody with a really good message, you know, at the beginning. But it is also good to have your own intention for the dance as well, of what you want to get out of it. Um, so for me, I'd like to start with something like that so you can gently sort of connect with bits of the music, but listening to the words more so at the beginning to like gradually sort of build up where there's no words, you dance a little and then build it up so that you get to the point where it's like, yes, I love this, you know, getting really excited to like sort of gently bringing you back down again with a really nice part at the end of like, again, maybe some words or something, or even just a point where you can have it quite a gentle music where the people might want to sit down, they might want to lie down, they might want to stay there and just gently sway. Others might still want to move about, you know. It all varies from each facilitator, really.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I said you can see, like, it'd be really fascinating. I mean, that's how I've seen music, like, especially when you go clubbing. I've not gone clubbing much. I was a very boring child, very studious. But even when, like, you go to weddings and stuff as well, and you can really see that. I mean, I remember speaking to DJ in my wedding, and he was saying, "Oh, your family, they like 60s and 70s music, and I just mix with Bunga, and everyone's up on the floor." And I was like, "Yeah," and he goes, and he could just catch on with just like what he was playing at the time, and he could really change the pace. And it's fascinating. I think the world of DJ is so fascinating. And you really are. You're just basically like a an energy bender. So I love that. Absolutely. Um, so I think we're going to wrap up. We're getting to about 40 minutes, and I think it'd be nice to keep this short and sweet, and then we can have like conversations later with more questions and stuff. And I'd really like to kind of continue with this. So I think we should start with a question. I'm just trying to think of a question as you're talking as well. If you were to say something you've learnt today, like something or like a message that you've kind of received today, thinking, "Oh, actually, that's a good thought." I'm putting you on the spot here, so it doesn't you don't have to, but would you, or even this week, like what would you say would be like a message that you think, "Oh, this was quite a good message, and I'd like to share."
Is this a message you feel that I've got myself or something I would like to share with others?
Something you'd like to share with others or yourself. I mean, we could go very philosophical and say, what's the difference? So,
This is so true. Um, don't be afraid to be yourself. And yeah, definitely don't be afraid to follow your passion and your dreams. Don't be stunted by what other people think, what other people say to you. Follow your dreams, follow who you are. Um, Definitely. And I think the other thing as well with like the ecstatic dance thing as well is it also taught me to become very body aware. So becoming aware of what's going on inside of me to like if you move gently to one side, oh, feel a little niggle. That doesn't mean, oh, you mustn't do that. Send some energy to it. Where your attention goes, energy flows, and it helps you heal. So don't put blinkers on. Don't bury things. Don't hide things. Don't put a mask on. Throw them all out the window. Be yourself.
I love it. All right, Nina. Well, till next time. And yeah,
Yeah.
welcome to Pocket Pals, everyone.